It's Larry Lytle here. Welcome to Camera Lab here at Cal State Channel Islands. And today we're going to talk about aperture. And aperture just basically means opening. But in the camera, what it is a device, just like you see here. And I'm going to see if I can make this work again. To go back actually stop down is what it's called. It's stopping down here. I'm trying to stop down. This thing is ancient and a little broken. So stopping down and opening up the amount of light which goes through the lens and hits your sensor on the back. Okay, this is a really important concept because this is one of the controls for your ability to expose your picture properly. Now the aperture is actually in the barrel of the lens. This is from a giant lens that was a view camera lens, but essentially it goes somewhere in this part of the lens, and it's depends on the manufacturer where they place it, I guess. It also has to do with that, if you remember in the first video, me opening the book of optics with all the math, it has to do with the focal length of the lens and the mathematics that involves the size of the aperture to the focal length of the lens. It is all difficult for me to understand. Maybe there are mathematicians out there who can explain it in class to me. I would appreciate it. Okay, so as you'll see in the graphic behind me, there are f-stops that are set in cameras. Basically, they are full stops. They go 2.8, f4, f5.6, f8, f11, f16, f22, f32. That's about it for these 35 millimeter lenses. If you had a large format camera, you could go to f64, f128, and so on. So you can see roughly the f-stops double or halve. Sometimes that doesn't always hold true, but it does. If you think about 5.6 to 11, 4 to 8, 2.8 to 5.6, then it begins to make sense. They are preset, as I said, and you will be able to see them displayed either on the top here. Oops, let me turn this on. On the top here, usually in this area, and they are also displayed in the inside your viewfinder, and usually on the back of your camera if you have your display on. You'll see there is f4.5 and there's f4. I was pointing at it 1/8 of a second. I thought it was f8. Actually, it's over here. It's f4.5. So that's what I have here because in this environment, that is the proper exposure for these lights. Another thing that you will want to do is, so you won't do this. You will ask me this. Why do I care about the aperture? What does it matter whether the hole is really big or let me get this, or really small? Okay, it matters for this reason, and you are going to see Michael is going to run this for you on top of me talking over this. So you will see in these pictures, I have photographed a friend of mine, Steve, outside of my studio, and what I wanted to show you was at 2.8, with me focused on him, what the background looked like. Now the background in this shot is pretty fuzzy. You will see, you can't really tell exactly what it is. As I stop the lens down though, I make the hole smaller and smaller and smaller going towards f22. What you will see is the background starts to come into focus. And because I'm balancing the shutter speed to the f-stop to get a perfect exposure every time, you won't see a difference between any of those shots except that the background slowly comes into focus. And that is really the whole point of the f-stop, is to control artistically what you want in focus in the shot. There is one caveat, which we'll get into in class a little bit more, and that is whether you use a telephoto lens or a wide-angle lens, because at the same f-stop, a telephoto lens will have a shallower depth of field than a wide-angle lens. and we will talk about more of that where we have more time. But once again, this is for you to just kind of punch in and catch up. So I hope this makes sense. Once again, if you have any questions, you can always ask me anytime during class. And I hope you enjoy manipulating your aperture in your camera.